In the 1900s, there lived a mystic named Neville Goddard, and his work, his teachings have become a foundation for most of the law of attraction teachings and manifestation teachings that we see today. And this is the complete reader that I have of Neville Goddard's works. And today we will look at the 5 fundamental principles in the teachings of Neville Goddard, and we will also look at how these correspond to the teachings and principles of the ancient Vedanta. Through all this, we will try to attain clarity on how to consciously create our life the way we truly want to live. The Adhvaitha channel is about conscious living and conscious creation. Here we look at Vedanta and various other ancient teachings from India to understand the nature of reality and to consciously create our lives. So make sure to hit like and subscribe to our channel. The first principle when it comes to Neville Goddard's teaching that we need to understand is about consciousness. He talks about how consciousness is the only reality. And the way he uses the word consciousness is different from how we use it here in our channel and how the ancient Vedanta talks about consciousness. But the principle is a little similar. Neville Goddard says that consciousness is the only reality and there is absolute unity in this existence. He also talks about the states in consciousness. He says that our internal states of consciousness is responsible for the reality which we are experiencing and is responsible for the external world that we create for ourselves. And he also says that by changing our internal state of consciousness, we can change our external reality and we can experience a different reality. But when we look at the teachings of Vedanta, they go way beyond this teaching. They say that consciousness is in which the universe itself appears. And Vedanta also says that there is absolute unity in this world, and this world is simply a projection and it's Maya. And the pure consciousness is the absolute reality. Now, the second principle is the law of assumption. Neville Goddard talks about living in the end. And this is one of the most popular principles of Neville Goddard on the internet today. Here, Neville speaks about how we can manifest different circumstances and events in our lives by living as though they have already happened. He says that by simply assuming the end of our desired goal and by living in the end, we can bring it about in our lives quickly. Now think about something that you want to have in your life, whether it is a business that you want to create or it is a promotion that you want to attain in your work, or it might be anything else. What Neville Goddard says here is that we need to simply assume that what we are seeking has already happened and we need to start living in the end, which means living as though that desired goal has already been achieved. How would you live if your goals have already been achieved? How would you live if you already had abundance, if you already had freedom, if you already had love? Start living in this way and the world will have no choice but to give you that desired goal, says Neville. So this is about the law of assumption. The third principle is about how imagination creates reality. Neville Goddard's teachings give extraordinary amount of importance to imagination. He says that imagination is power, and he says that the creative potential of God is within us and this power is imagination. Through the power of imagination and through the power of controlled imagination, we can create different things in this world and we can achieve success at different dimensions of life. And he calls the imagination as the God within each and every one of us. And he also talks about controlled imagination. Most of the people do not create a profound, purposeful life for themselves because they think about various different things throughout the day unconsciously. They don't consciously imagine the vision or the goal that they actually want to achieve throughout the day. So he gives a lot of importance to controlled imagination and disciplined imagination. So first of all, we need to be very clear about what we want from life. We need to be very clear with respect to what we want to do in this world. Only then we can empower that vision with our imagination and bring it about in this world. So this is what we need to understand here. The fourth principle states, the kingdom of God is within you. This is a saying of Jesus Christ himself. Christ said, the kingdom of God is within you. And even the ancient Upanishads tell us this. The Chandogya Upanishad says, Tattvamasi. And the Upanishads also say, Aham Brahmasmi. I am God. I am one with God. This is a similar teaching. Neville says that the infinite power of God is within each and every one of us. And it is evident as the power of imagination. And this is the creative potential of God which is accessible to each and every one of us. But look at how we are using this in our lives. Most of us imagine negative things. We empower negative circumstances and events unconsciously. We think about what we do not want to experience most of the time. We think about the wrong things that have happened to us or the wrong things that someone else did to us some time back. And we empower these visuals through our imagination, and through all this we are unconsciously pushing our lives in a negative direction. So we need to understand the importance and the significance of this information, and we need to consciously empower positive intentions, positive thoughts and positive visions through our imagination to create a positive life for ourselves. And the fifth principle is the law of reversibility. Now, I have understood this in a simple way. If we look at Albert Einstein's famous equation, which equated energy and matter, that is E equals mc square, here Einstein tells us that energy and matter can be converted into each other. But what Neville Goddard says here is that if matter can be converted into energy, then energy can also be converted into matter. What he says here is that if a circumstance can produce a certain kind of internal state within ourselves, then a certain kind of internal state within us can also produce that circumstance. This is the law of reversibility. Let us understand this with a simple example. Now imagine that you have got a promotion in your job and you are experiencing a lot of joy, a lot of empowerment, a lot of fulfillment because of this promotion or because of this achievement. Now what Neville says here is that if the job has created these internal states, then these internal states have the potential in themselves to create that external reality. So we can reverse engineer this and we can start living in fulfillment, we can start living in joy, and we can start envisioning and empowering this vision through imagination right now, and we can create that promotion or manifest that promotion in our lives just through the power of this principle, the law of reversibility. Now just to conclude, there are two parts that we need to understand and implement in order to see magic in our lives. The first part is about understanding of this knowledge. Second, persistence and faith. The other part is about controlled imagination and assumption. So if we understand this knowledge in the right way, and if we persist on our vision and on our goal, and if we have faith in ourselves and in this information, and in the other part, if we use the tools of controlled imagination and assumption, which is living in the end, this will bring miracles in our lives, and this will truly create the life that we actually want to live and experience.